Hi, good afternoon. This is Sherry, and today I'm going to show you how to make this tiny basket using round reed. We've talked about how to make a lot of things, but I've not showed you how to make a basket, so we're going to do that today. So you'll need some round reed, and I have, this is number 3 round reed, and you'll need 9 pieces that are 12 inches long. And I'm going to divide these into a group of 4 and a group of 5. And I'm just going to cross them over each other and just eyeball it a little bit to make sure they're mostly even. So this is number 3 round reed. I also have a long piece of number 1 round reed. And what I did, I've just folded that in half. So I'm going to take my loop and loop it over one of my groups of spokes. So these are spokes and this is your weaver. And I'll try to keep my hands out of the way as much as I can because I know that makes it hard to see. So you can see that I have looped that around my group of spokes so that one piece is on top of the group of spokes and one piece is underneath. So I'm going to take the piece that's on top and bring it under the next group of spokes. Now this one is on top, so it goes under. Like so. And I want to keep it as close to the center as I can. And now we've been around one time. So let's go around one more time and I'll show you how to split your spokes out into groups. This technique that we're doing with this round reed is called twining. You're working with 2 pieces really. One on top and one underneath, groups of spokes. So that's what you're learning today, some basket lingo, how to twine. So now we're back to where we started. We're going to split our groups of spokes into smaller groups. So this group of 4 I'm going to split into 2 groups of 2. And then my group of 5 will be split into a group of 2, a single one, and then another group of 2. Let's split these out. So now we've been all the way around our base. All of our spokes are split into smaller groups. So we'll weave around 2 more times. And then we'll start turning the spokes up rather to make the sides of your basket. Okay, so I've been around my base 5 times, and you can count 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh, I need one more on that. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you want to make sure you've been around and you have the same number of rows on all your spokes. Now we're going to fold these up very gently and start weaving up the side of your basket. You're going to continue to twine just like you were. But as you go around your spokes, just fold them up. If your spokes start to crack a little, just go ahead and dunk them in the water and get them wet again, and they should be fine. and by about the third row your spokes should be going up pretty nicely and the sides of your basket being formed nicely for you. So here we are almost to the end of our first weaver. I'll show you how to start the next one. But I want you to take a moment and just look at your basket and make sure that your spokes are pretty evenly spaced. And you can see that the bottom is just a little bit domed. So if you want to, you can just push up on the center of your basket, and that'll help it set a little bit more evenly because it pushes the extra bulk to the inside and it'll set flatter on the table. You can use that technique for a larger basket as well. Okay, so here we are at the end of our weaver, and I want to show you how to start a new one. So I'm going to go ahead and take this one behind the spoke where it needs to be and just tuck it to the inside of the basket. And then this one also, you can trim that a little so it's not so much length, and just tuck it down inside of the basket, and it'll just stay there behind the spoke. Now if you wanted to tuck that into the weaving, you could just tuck it under the row of weaving like so, and then after the basket's dry you can go back in there and trim it off a little closer. But again, these baskets are so small, so I just tuck that in there. Now I took a new piece of reed, I folded it in half, and I'm just going to loop it over the last, see, this is the last spoke that's fully covered by the weaver that I had. There's a piece in front and there's a piece behind. So I'll start there and just loop it around. Make sure that it's tight and I don't have a loose, make sure it's not loose. And then we'll just keep weaving like so. And make sure that your spokes are going upward. Here we are back to the beginning, so we'll just keep going. Okay, so I have this really nice piece of blue reed that I'm going to add in just for a little color, and we're going to start it just like we did our other, just by looping it and then putting it over the group of spokes where we finished our last piece. So I'll weave that in real quick. Then I'll show you how to finish it. Now if you don't have any reed at home, there's a lot of things you can weave with that you might have available. For example, honeysuckle. You might have some honeysuckle vines, some Virginia creeper, wisteria, wild grapevine. All of those are good vines to work with. Of course, you would not want poison ivy, so just watch what you're gathering. You could even use kudzu. If you do choose that, choose some vines with dark brown bark, some of the older older vines. If you get kudzu vines that are green and they're the new growth, they're hollow on the inside, and as they dry out, your basket will get loose. So if you do want to weave with kudzu, you might want to pick some of those older vines with the brown bark. But honeysuckle, wild grapevine, Virginia creeper, all of those are good to weave with. And there's lots of books that show you how to gather wild materials and how to process those, so you can weave with them. So here we are at the end. I'm just going to tuck those down like so. Now we want to finish our basket. So you can take any group of spokes, just start anywhere, and you want to take it in front of the adjacent spokes and behind, and just down to the inside of the basket. And you may have to hold it. Things are wanting to pop out. So in front and behind. In front and behind. In front and behind. I see my little piece of reed is being unruly. And then here we are at the last, so in front, and then you'll just tuck it through there and behind. And so there's your finished little basket, and you can push those down more if you want to, or leave them up and let them be a little loopy, depending on the length of spoke that you have left. And that's what it looks on the inside. After this is dry, I'm going to go back and cut these off so that they'll lay right behind here. So I'll just cut it right there, and you can see it'll lay there. And that way it has something to rest against, and it won't pop out to the front of the basket. So, but I like to do that after the basket's dry. So I'll just let this dry and then come back. I'll cut these right there. I'll cut these over here so that it rests on that. So you get the idea. And then I'll trim my little ends on the inside. So there's a little tiny basket for you. Perfect for one Easter egg maybe, or some candy, or paper clips on your desk, or what have you.